In an effort to stay consistent in creating content for you guys, I run searches on YouTube and Google to see what you guys are looking up. One of the things that's most searched is how to kick harder in Muay Thai, obviously. And I understand why anyone who is starting Muay Thai or even has been training Muay Thai is looking for that. Who doesn't want to make their kicks stronger? So let's talk about that. What I truly believe you need to have a stronger kick in Muay Thai is you need to hone your technique. So what you should be looking up, especially if you're a beginner, is techniques. Proper techniques or better techniques. And then you should be taking that information and trying to improve your technique. Because in my mind and how I see it and how I teach it, power comes from two things. You need your technique first, then you add speed to it, now you have power. Power doesn't exist without the proper technique. Once you're able to do that technique nice and clean, you can put some speed behind it, now you have power. A lot of people will come into the training with a degree of power. Obviously, we all have some degree of power. So they want to show that power off top. They don't have the technique yet. So just winging things around. And I'm sure you've trained with people or you train yourself and you remember the first time you were hitting the bag or hitting pads and you were trying to do it at full power and things were wonky. You were hitting the pad weird. You were hitting the bag weird. Things just weren't clean. They weren't crisp and they didn't feel right. You need technique. Now I have a lot of videos that help with like the very technical aspects of a roundhouse kick in Muay Thai, how to work your way up to a clean technique when it comes to throwing your roundhouse kick. So I'll put a link up to that playlist here and you should definitely check it out. But you should spend some time really drilling down and tightening up, cleaning up, truly cleaning up and tightening that kick and making it super technical. Go super slow and get it right. As you start to have your balance and your rotation and your proper technique, then you add a little more speed, then more speed, and then full speed. Now you're gonna have some power. So again, remember, you need your technique, you need to add speed to that technique, then you will have power. In my opinion, power without technique is not a thing. It's just sloppy. And again, one other thing is you can't really be precise, you can't be accurate. So you're probably off balance if you're throwing power without technique, and I'm certain you're inaccurate because you haven't really figured out how to get the kick there clean or technical. So my advice to you, truly, is to really take time to work on your kick. Do it slow. I said this in previous videos. My motto is, do it slow before you do it fast. The other thing I say in that regard is, if you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. So get that technique, get that kick nice and technical, get it nice and balanced, get it smooth, speed it up, and then see what your power looks like. This is not a technique video, so I'm not gonna spend a chunk of this video showing you proper techniques or any kind of secret technique to kick harder. Again, I've created a lot of technical videos and you should check those out. And you can use those, again, to practice and drill and get your technique dialed in. But I will offer a few tips real fast, or drills. And these are for the people who already have good technique and speed, but they still want to figure out a way to, they want to learn some tweaks to make their kick just a little more powerful. So before I show these drills one more time, if you are a beginner or even intermediate and you don't have a super clean technical kick, fix that first. So one drill that I don't see a lot of people doing, and maybe you do it already, but it's something I learned when I was really learning to throw hard leg kicks or low kicks. So what you do is you step into your bag and you rest your shin, right? Kind of plant it on the bag or rest it on the bag, and then you extend. You push yourself off of the bag. Now, I believe I covered that in my three-part series of how to throw roundhouse kicks. So it's a good way to learn how to kick, but it's also great because what you're getting when you're pushing off the bag, right? What you need when you throw a powerful kick is you need that whip, right? And you can't always whip through your targets. You can when you shadow box, right? You can always whip around. But when you're hitting a bag, you're hitting a target, you're hitting pads, you become accustomed to striking at something, not through something. So you lose the whip on the end. It's what we call the dragon's tail. So you need to whip your dragon's tail. So by doing this, with your knee bent, you're pushing, so you're extending off. And you're kind of teaching your body, your muscles, that last little bit of the kick. You're training that last little whip of the kick. So that's an important part of having a strong kick, is being able to whip it. So aside from drilling the dragon's tail or the whip at the end, you also need to learn to open your hip and use your torso. Like that when you kick. That last little bit, really exploding your hips, that gives you that bite on the kick. When I teach people roundhouse kicks, it always looks like my knee is landing bent. So a lot of beginners, they throw these straight kicks, right? So they're straightening your leg too soon. They're throwing snapping kicks. That's not a Muay Thai roundhouse. It often looks like your knee is bent when you're kicking, right? And that's because we're not throwing with power right now. But if you really look, there's extension at the end of the kick, right? And that extension not only comes from the whipping of the dragon's tail, but it's turning your hip and pulling this shoulder back. So little slow drills like this, getting rotation. You see how my shoulder is pulling. And think about hitting the bag with your hip. So at the last little bit, drive your hip towards the bag. I always tell my students, like, oh, kick towards this wall or rotate. But then I started saying, try to hit the bag with your hip. That really seems to drive home the point of really driving your hip forward and towards the target. So you're here. If you kick like this, because you think swinging this kick and throwing this shoulder, this is what a lot of people look like. And that's all leg. It's just whip. It feels good to them. They feel like turning. They worry about their balance, so they turn this shoulder forward. But swinging this shoulder back, opening your arm, extending your arm, pulling. See what that does to my hip, right? Man, I absolutely love these 300-pound bags when it comes to working on your kicks. So do these slow drills to focus on the whip, the hip, and rotation of the shoulder. So guys, I hope this information was helpful. As always, please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.